What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another WNBA video. We got ourselves a two-game slate to dive into for Sunday, September 21st. Got the WNBA Conference Finals tipping off, so we're going to break down and analyze each of those games. We're going to talk about which way that I'm leaning as far as the points on the spread, and then when it's all said and done, make sure you check down there into that pinned comment. You'll find a link down there that'll send you over to the Guy Boston Sports website. That's where you'll find all of my final plays for these games listed for free. Before we dive into these games, let's go ahead and jump over there to the website. We need to go ahead and recap our plays from not only Friday, but Thursday as well. And as much as I don't want to, we'll just go ahead and dive into Thursday first, man, because we're not going to run from it. We're not going to hide from it. We endured the reverse sweep, man, 0-4 on the night. Took the Fever and the Dream a total under 155.5, and they go well up and over that mark, so we don't cash there. We also took the Dream in that game, laying 6.5 points. They were up 85-80, and then the Fever go on a 7-0 run to close that one out. Knocked the Dream out of the playoffs, man, and we don't cash on that one. We took the Aces laying 7.5 over the Storm. They end up winning by 1, so we don't cash there. We also took the Aces a team total over 82.5. They land at 74. So 0-4, like I said on the day, man, definitely not what we were looking for. I guess the only good thing, if you want to call it a good thing, right, is that we only put quarter unit plays in on each of these, so we only lose a full unit on the day as opposed to, going down 4 units overall. But then we do bounce back on Friday. We took the Mercury on the money line, put a half unit in on that one, and that one does end up cashing for us. It's not the greatest of first rounds, man, just going to be completely honest with you guys. We're down a little bit under 1 unit in those first rounds of the WNBA playoffs, so looking to bounce back here in the second round, have a much better second round, and finish profitable heading into the WNBA finals, man. So let's go ahead and see what kind of value that we can find on the board here in these first two games. Game 1 for the Fever and the Aces, Game 1 for the Mercury and the Lynx. Let's go ahead and dive right into it, guys. Smash that like button down there for me if you can. Hit subscribe if you have not already. Let's go ahead and start with that first game, man. 3 p.m. tip-off time. Indiana Fever at the Las Vegas Aces. Now, the Aces are 8.5-point favorites in this one. That total sitting at 163.5. These two, they're both coming in off of thrilling wins here in the first round, right? The Fever winning 2 straight over Atlanta to upset the Dream, and then the Aces winning a close 1-point game over the Storm to move on to host Indiana here in this best of 5 to see who's going to be headed to the finals. It's an interesting matchup, man. We see Vegas as pretty big favorites to open up here, but let's look at things here, man. These two have met 3 times head-to-head on the year. The Fever have won 2 of those 3, including the last 2 in a row, winning those outright as dogs. And they were big wins at that, man. A 10-point win in their last head-to-head in late July, and then an 81-54 beatdown of the Aces in early July. But this was a different Aces team then, man. This was pre-winning streak Vegas, right? A team that was hovering around 500, and facing serious question marks on if they would even make the playoffs. They were 12-12 after that last meeting with the Fever. They've since gone 20-3, including the playoffs, while the Fever are 14-9 over that same time period. I think the Fever can steal a game here in the series, but man, ultimately, I like the Aces to get the job done here in Game 1. We saw the Fever get blown out in Game 1 in the first round before making adjustments and wheeling off wins over their next 2. We also saw the Aces destroy Seattle in Game 1 of their series. This is also a double revenge spot for the Aces, man. They're at home, 3 wins away from playing for the title, so I like Vegas to make a statement here and get the win and the cover in Game 1. Looking at these teams in their last 10 games heading into the playoffs, Vegas had been hitting from inside the restricted area at the second highest shooting percentage, hitting the second most shots and at the highest percentage from outside the restricted area in the paint. They were hitting the second most shots at the highest percentage from the mid-range, and then the most above the break threes, also at the highest shooting percentage. Indiana, they're giving up the third highest shooting percentage from inside the restricted area, the most made field goals from outside the restricted area in the paint and at the highest shooting percentage, the third most mid-range field goals at the second highest shooting percentage. They have at least been decent on the perimeter, 6 for above the break shooting percentage allowed while giving up the third fewest such field goals. Now, the Aces led the league in three-pointers made over their last 5 heading into the postseason, shooting at the highest percentage from deep as well. They're hitting the second most threes so far in these playoffs of the remaining teams left and hitting those at the highest shooting percentage as well out of those remaining teams. And this will be key for Vegas, man. They went just 5 for 31 from deep in their last 2 games against Indiana, those 2 games that they lost to the Fever. I mean, we look at the Fever, man, and Kelsey Mitchell, Leah Boston, they've definitely been playing great, right? And I think Natasha Howard can get going and find some success here in the series as well. But ultimately, this Vegas team is just so deep. and Asia very well may have been, named MVP by the tip-off in this one, and if not, she'll surely be a very close runner-up, right? And then you also got Jackie Young and Joel Lloyd. They've been big down the stretch of the season and into the playoffs so far. Bell, Gray, Melissa Smith. This team is solid, man, and this version of the Aces that we've seen over the last month should be able to roll here in game one. For the total, all three this season and six in a row dating back to last year between these two head to head have hit to the under. The Fever have seen unders hit in 7 of their last 9, but Vegas has gone over in 3 of their last 4. I get this gut feeling, man, that this one is going to be it's going to be a rout in the favor of the Aces, and we'll get a closer game too. This makes me want to look at an under, so I'll lean that way, but I'm liking the side more in this one than the total, and I think that I'll most likely stay off of that total here, get a feel for the pace that these two are going to look to play at here in this series before I make a play there. And then for our second game, going to be the Phoenix Mercury taking on the Minnesota Lynx. The Lynx coming in 7.5 point favorites at home with that total sitting at 158.5. 5 p.m. tip-off time for this one. It's going to be another interesting series as well, in my opinion, man, because we look at these two head-to-head so far between them on the year. First glance, it definitely looks like the Lynx have had the Mercury's number so far, right? They've taken 3 of the 4 meetings, but none of these games between these two this season has been played without at least one key player in the rotation missing for if not both of the sides, right? We've seen Fee out for these games. We've seen Alyssa Thomas, Satu Sabli, and Cock Hopper all miss time in these head-to-head matchups between these two. We haven't seen either of these teams at full strength take on each other yet, even through 4 matchups so far this season. And now we're going to get a matchup with Phoenix at full strength and the Lynx damn near at full strength, but they are going to be down Dejanay Carrington, man, who is a key rotational piece off of their bench. The Lynx, man, they are definitely a force at home, right? They've gone 21-3 straight up, 15-8-1 to the number. The Mercury have been inconsistent at times this season. They've gone just 12-10 straight up on the road, 10-12 to the number when playing away. But even still, man, 7.5 does feel like a little bit too much here in game one. It's more than I really feel comfortable laying with the Lynx here in game one, right? The Mercury had the highest rated defense in the first round of the playoffs. And you look at these two and the style of play from each of them, they both have the ability to heat up from deep. But they both do go through ruts offensively, and they rely on strong defense to win these games. So every game between these two so far this year have hit to the under. The Lynx have gone under in 4 of their last 5 games, the Mercury in 3 straight, in 8 of their last 10. So ultimately, my favorite play in this game is going to be an under. And I think I'd lean towards the Mercury on the side as well. I like the Lynx to take game one. Like I said, I'm not sure that I want to lay 7.5 with them here. I'm not sure I want to put my money against them either, man. You know what I mean? Like this is still the team that I have a futures out for them to win the championship. You know what I mean? This is a team that I knew coming into the year that they were on a mission, and we've seen that throughout the course of the regular season and so far in these playoffs as well. This is the only team that swept in the first round. So yeah, betting against the Lynx here does not feel good. But laying 7.5 with them in game one against the Mercury team that has played pretty well as well, matches up pretty well with Minnesota when healthy. That doesn't feel too good either. So I think if I'm playing the side in this one, I'd like to look at the Mercury probably in the first half, maybe the first quarter even, because I think they keep it close. But I think the Lynx definitely have the potential to pull away late. So, I could see it going either way at the end of the day as far as the side, as far as that 7.5. I can see the Lynx pulling away, but I can also see the Mercury covering there. So I probably just stay away from the side full game. Like I said, if I'm going to look towards the side in this one, I'm going to look towards it early and take the Phoenix Mercury to keep things close. Let's go ahead and jump over to Outlier. I found a player prop that I want to go over with you guys. It's going to be in that first game, the Fever and the Aces. I'm looking at Natasha Howard of the Fever for points over 9.5. It's at -114 right now. We can scroll on down and look her on the season. She's averaging above that mark at 11.35 points per game, hitting at a 60% rate. You can see on the year, man, it's just all green, right? Let's go ahead and look at this insight from Outlier. We can see that she's exceeded this mark in 5 of her last 6 games, averaging 12.3 points per game in that time. And we can also see, against the Las Vegas Aces, she's had a good bit of success, man. 5 of the last 6 games, she's gone over that mark, an 83% hit rate, averaging 14.5 games, including the last 2 games that they played against the Aces. So we definitely like to see that. She's shooting at 46% against the Aces over those last 6 games. We can look at her in those last 6 games overall, though, and we can see that she's shooting the ball at a 56% rate, getting to the line, knocking those down at an 82% rate as well. We can scroll over here, look at the aces for their points allowed. They're sitting at 7th overall, but against that forward position, sitting at just 10th. So I definitely like that value with this play here, minus 114 at over 9.5 when she's clearing that mark at a pretty consistent rate and averaging above that mark by a few points as well. And that is going to wrap it up for today. I hope you enjoyed the show today and found the content helpful and useful. And if you did, please don't forget to smash that like button on your way out and hit subscribe if you have not already. And that is going to do it, man. Hope you guys all cash out. Have yourselves a great Sunday, and I'll see you back for the next one.